good morning. I was about to say good evening, people. How are you guys doing? Happy Tuesday. Like Christy always says, my favorite day of the week. So, yes, I am your host for today. So, I'm hoping everyone is doing well and ready for an amazing show. Um, but before we start the show, we want to let everyone know. Obviously, let me continue doing it because Christy's not helping me in the background today. Um, so, uh, so I have to do a host and producer at the same time. Uh, if you or anyone you know that is dealing with any form of domestic violence, please be sure to reach out to the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 or us at loveshouldnothurt.com. So last time we had a great show with which is give thanks. Everything came out great. We had amazing people from our community come on. So definitely it was a very thankful show. This time, as you guys know, we have Christina back in the hot seat. So last part one was absolutely amazing. It was some good questions and some good convo, and we got some good info out of Chrissy. But we wanted to do a part two, um, and we wanted to spice up things a little bit more. So we always want to keep on bringing things up. So it feels kind of weird doing this. I just didn't know how much Chrissy is absolutely amazing at this. That's why she's usually on the screen and not I. Also, that Christy helped me out just now. That's why I love her. So we have an amazing guest today, and I hope that you guys enjoy and bear with me because I am not a professional at this, people, and I just need to make sure that I get some love. Please give me some love. But let's give some love right now to our amazing guest, Christina Vega. What's up, Chrissy?
Yo, yo, you have me laughing in the green room. You're going to do great, man. You watch me do this every week.
Yo, I actually wrote down your skit, yo.
You're crazy. Happy Tuesday, guys. I'm
So,
ready.
Chrissy, you're back. So, how does it feel to be on the other side right now?
Super duper weird, man. I'm out of control and I don't like it.
No,
That's
for
something I
sure.
need to work on. I want to be in control all the time, but I'm ready. I'm ready for the questions. I'm ready to be open. Thank you guys for watching. I see Doris, Carmen, and Michael. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Let's go.
Let's go. So, let's just do a little recap first of the part one. How did you feel with part one before we get into part two?
Well, you know what's funny is that the part one was only a couple weeks. Okay, so a year ago, a few weeks ago, it came up on my timeline, and I actually drove to different places throughout that day with it in my car playing, and I was listening to it, and I was like, wow, we should do that again. Only because I feel like since then so much has changed. We've done so many different things, and I've dealt with different situations. But it was actually pretty cool. Like I was reading the comments, and people learned so much about me. And I thought that this was a great opportunity to do the same thing again because I think, like I say it a lot of times, people think that I wear this crown, right? So I'm like perfect and I have no problems and life is beautiful and amazing. And though I'm grateful for life and all that's it's presented to me, I have difficulties too. I'm human. So I like these moments because people can see that I'm human. I'm not perfect, and I'm just like all the rest of you who come in and are my guests. So
Oh,
it's
that's
cool.
so. I mean, wearing a crown, you know what, is not bad though. It's not bad. You just can't let it tilt. Just keep it on straight, and it's not a bad thing. So I'm going to be looking back and forth because I have a bunch of questions that hopefully that you can we can attack them. We're going to go. I mean, this thing is going to be amazing. So the first question that I would like to ask,
Absolutely.
what is the hardest part of being a parent to your daughter after being a domestic violence victim?
Wow. So that's a great question. So being a parent, especially to a daughter, is difficult because domestic violence, right? Most times we know that it's affected women, most times. It affects men as well. But being a woman and being in that role of being her provider, her mother, her example, is super, super hard. I have gone through the motions throughout the years, like every other parent. Every parent, whether you've dealt with domestic violence or not, is always wondering, am I doing a good job? Am I giving them enough love? Am I showing them, rearing them the correct way, making sure that she knows right from wrong and things like that. But being a domestic violence survivor and being a mother of a girl has been pretty tough for me, because I am fearful all the time. She's a teenager now. She's 14, and what starts are liking boys, and thinking of dating, and I'm not ready for that phase. Because I know that with that phase comes hurt, comes lessons, more new lessons that she's going to learn. And it's hard for me because I'm always fearful of things being repetitive. Now, I will say this. I think, and this is a little bit of me tooting my crown here in my own horn, I think that with running this organization and taking the steps that I have to run this organization, I've been able to give her a good foundation, of what not to, take from people, and to learn what she deserves and self-respect. I've said it before. I think I'm a little bit more, so mean, but I think I'm a little bit more worried about the boys than I am for her, because she is very strong-willed, and because of what it is that I do. And even before that, I was always very like overprotective of her, so she just tolerates nothing. She doesn't tolerate being talked down to, she doesn't tolerate disrespect. But it took a long road. She went through the normal motions as a kid, and I wanted to protect her. We always say that when we go into these schools, we talk to kids about self-worth, about self-respect, and like appropriate touching and things like that. And Zulma, my other co-part of Love Shouldn't Hurt, she always says that bullying, is kind of a start for some of these kids, who grow up and do this. And some people might hear it and be like, oh, no, not really. But yeah, it is, because when kids are young, they start with the mean words. They start with you're fat and you're ugly and you're stupid. And my daughter went through a really terrible bout of bullying when she was in school. And, I thought that I was this crazy mother. And I'm sure that they thought that too, because I was sending evil emails, showing up at the school, getting in there and forcing them to talk to me. But it was because I felt like, I was bullied as an adult. And I don't want this for her. I want her to know that from now, even as a kid, nobody's going to bully you. No one's going to make you feel less than your worth. So it's not easy being a parent after being someone who's abused. I think I'm overly sensitive with her, overly sensitive with her friendships. When people hurt her, I'm like more hurt for her, because I just don't want her to feel, what I went through, especially as well. The fact that, not even the fact that people would hurt her. I know what it was like growing up in my body. I know what it was like having a low self-esteem, not loving myself. I lived a lot of my childhood disliking myself. And, everybody thought I was wild and I was loud and I was always laughing, that I was just this happy kid. And then when people realized, wow, she's really sad, they didn't know that, I was going through bouts of depression. I hated who I saw. So that also plays a role, because she's so young and impressionable. And I'm worried about her constantly. Is she okay? Is she depressed? Is she sad? So I guess it's really difficult, but I feel like I've been doing a good job. Alina very well, and
Well,
she's a great kid.
You said something because of the fact that stood out. It's because you protect her, but at the
Yes.
same time, what you're doing is that you're not holding her from real life issues.
No,
You're
yeah,
letting her
absolutely.
grow. But you're actually guiding her along the way. So I don't see
Yes.
that as a bad thing. As in, like you're just trying to make sure that she's ready for the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like all parents. I guess I'm just a little bit more overprotective, because I know what that type of pain is like. And that's something that I don't want her to have to ever deal with.
So we see some questions, but we're gonna wait so a little bit at
Okay.
the. I'm gonna go to the next question. So I don't know. I'm just putting it out there, and I don't mean you have to answer this, but if you are single,
Mhm.
how do you date after numerous abusive relationships? What are you looking for after when you look at everything that you went through, and you're looking at that next person? What are you focused on, and what is it that you want to make sure that your pros and cons out of that person?
Okay. So I'll say this. I am. Um, what I look for. I think like every other woman in the world, I'm looking for the same thing that they're looking for. I'm just looking for it with barriers and caution. Um, I'm looking for someone who accepts me wholeheartedly. And when I say wholeheartedly, I say they have to accept the baggage that comes with me. My baggage is heavy baggage. It's not baggage like I'm crazy or I'm abusive or I want to fight all the time, but it's baggage that, someone with an understanding heart would have to understand. I am overly affectionate, overly like, I want to be all over you. And not to the point where I feel as though, oh my God, you need to be on top of me. But I'm so used to being unloved in relationships and being mistreated that when I meet new people, I quickly am like, oh my God, I want to love on you. I want to show you that I give love so you can give me love back, type of thing. And sometimes I can admit that it might be a little overbearing. It might come off all like, oh my God, like she's a lot. So to know me and to get to know me sometimes may come off as a lot for someone who is just starting to know me. Um, I think honestly, like every other person dating, not just women, I am looking for someone who wants to respect me for who I am, aside from the pain that I've dealt with. I wasn't respected a lot, even in my relationships that were not abusive. I dealt with a lot of mental abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of people who put me down throughout the relationship. So, I'll say this, I'm super comfortable single. I'm at a different place in life. I think when I was younger, being single was scary, because everybody around you had a husband or a boyfriend and was dating. And I wanted that. And I think that was another part of why I dealt with a lot of the strife and a lot of heartbreak and a lot of pain because I wanted a relationship so bad. I was willing to accept nothing but the best, but less than the best. I'm 41. I have a 14-year-old who's super impressionable and can see everything. She's obviously aware because she's older now. I want a relationship where someone expects one, respects one. I'm a mother. We come as a duo. So you have to accept that we're a duo. Two, you have to accept that she is the first important thing in my life and no one else will take that place. We've been a couple and a duo our entire lives. So she has to be able to be a part of that. Three, you have to understand where I'm coming from. I'm super open about my abuse, especially with the organization that I run. I'm super open with that abuse because I think that it's important not to hide things like that. You can't hide the fact that you have been raped in your past. You can't hide that you were molested. And it seems heavy. People are probably watching like, oh my God, that's heavy. It is heavy. It is heavy. But with those heavy circumstances and experiences in life, they have shaped me in a different way, and I've been through hell and back, and I may seem like I've come out on top, but I still hold a lot of that pain. And I'm just looking for someone who's supportive of that. I'm still going to be the loving Christina I've always been, as long as I have a partner who's going to understand she's been through pain and I don't want to give her the same. And it sounds so cliche. People are probably watching like, oh my God, it's not a fairy tale. No relationship's a fairy tale. We're going to fight. We're going to argue. We're going to disagree. But at the end of the day, at 41, I'm at a different place than I was at 21. At 21, I wanted to date because I wanted to have someone there. I don't need that anymore. I finance myself. I have my degrees. I have my job. I have my businesses. I am comfortable being single. All I am looking for is someone who is going to add to who I am as a person, and be able to understand that she's a great person. She has a lot going, but she did go through some pain. So she's going to have some rough days. I'm not perfect. Some days I think about what I've been through and I'm super sad. Um, I've been in relationships where the person is affectionate and they're loving, but if they're not giving the same amount of affection back, I quickly think, oh my God, are they cheating? Oh my God, do they not want to be with me, type of thing? So, that's things that we work through. Um, like any woman or man, you work through those feelings. But I think that at this point in life, like I said, I'm single and I'm good being single. So I am just looking for someone who's going to add, to my life. I don't need anyone to finance my life or take care of me. I just need you to be able to add to my life and add to my daughter's life because we come as a team, and dealing with half of the things that I dealt with, it's hard starting over and being able to trust somebody and say, okay, they're not going to hurt me the way that someone else did. And they're not going to hit me or they're not going to cheat on me and they're not going to do the things that I've dealt with in the past. So I am cautious. Dating is not easy. I don't deal with a lot of people, because of what I do. I get a lot of inbox messages and not people coming at me in that sense, but a lot of males write to me, let's have lunch, let's have dinner, or I saw your pictures, you're beautiful type of thing. And I appreciate the love, but I'm really not the type of person to kind of fall into that and say, hey, yeah, let's just meet. I'm just super cautious of my atmosphere and the people that I bring around me because I've had a lot of negative energy. So let's just end it on that. I'm looking for someone to only bring positive energy to me.
Um, but I'm gonna keep on with a little bit more. So
Yes.
when you're looking for that person, or basically not looking for that person, because that person is going to come to you. That's how I feel. It's at the right moment, at the right time that that person comes. Um, but do you feel like do you catch yourself saying like if maybe he had a bad day,
Mm.
was it me? Like, was it? Do you question everything that you do while because after being in a domestic violence, um, abusive relationship, do you feel that you question everything that you do, as in to make sure that it's not you? Do you do that?
I have moments. And we say that we're totally transparent, right? So I don't know who's watching, but I do have moments. I think that's my personality too, though. I think that I give off so much like crazy energy, like I'm always like hyper and loud and type of thing. If I don't get the same reciprocated back to me, and not the crazy loudness, but like my affection, I'm overly affectionate. I want to hug you, I want to kiss you, I want to love on you all day. Um, I don't think everybody has a bad day, and I'm pretty good sometimes at reading people. Um, and I know that not everybody's perfect. Clearly, they're not going to have great days every day, so people are going to have bad days. So I don't find myself often like, oh my god, that's my fault. Um, I do have moments. I have a friend, right? Let's say that I have a friend, um, and they're amazing, amazing individual. And it may go somewhere and it may not go somewhere, but I do find moments when if the person doesn't respond to my messages, like I could send a whole storybook of my feelings because I'm super open as well. Like I'll tell you how I feel. I just feel like you need to be honest with what you feel in the moment. Don't hold anything because it makes you kind of like bitter, or you hold on to it and you're just like you bottle it up. So I'm not a bottle up person anymore. I used to be. So if I feel something or I feel slighted in some type of way, I do say it. So if the person doesn't respond quickly, I do in that moment feel like, oh my God, was that too much? Should I not have said that? And did that make him scared? Is he not going to write me back? Type of thing. So I do have those moments. Um, but then I catch myself and I do say to myself, Chrissy, you need to chill. Not everybody wants to write a book when they're on their phone, or, some people communicate better sometimes just speaking on the phone or in person. So I do check myself often. I do have moments where I do feel like either my personality could be too much. Um, but then I kind of push myself back and say, okay, I have to stop living in the past and in those moments. And it may not just be me. He may not be a phone person. He may not want to write a book through text. He may not want to have this conversation via text. Maybe he wants to tell me how he feels in person, or when he talks to me on the phone. So I think I've grown in that aspect where when I was dealing with the abuse, every time that person was having a bad day, I was just like, what can I do to fix it? Like, do you want me to make you something to eat? Are you okay? Can I go get something for you? And I wanted to always fix it because I felt like I'm making him angry. There's got to be something about me, like that pissed him off. So let me just like calm him down. I've grown in a deeper sense where I realized that people do have bad days. I'm not what it's all about. So I have them and I don't have them. I guess that's the way to answer it. But I have checked myself and realized that, people just have their days and maybe people don't communicate the way that I communicate. I am very verbal about how I feel and not everybody's like that. So
And I mean, that's actually that's okay. I'm not. I'm gonna say that I'm a texter to take out my 100% feelings.
mm,
But sometimes when I want to come across to actually speak and make sure that I'm a person that I have to see like a face, or
mm,
if it's just on the phone, let me hear your tone of
your
voice,
voice, yeah.
because I think that actually helps out because sometimes we can be upset that day
Yeah.
and we're over here reading something and we're using it with our tone, but it's not technically that tone. That's why
Yeah.
like communication is well nowadays it's everything is bum, bum,
Yeah.
bum, 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 bum.
Yeah,
So yeah,
people have forgotten how to communicate and how to talk to one
exactly.
another. So I also have to check myself on that because sometimes I'm like, this is how I'm feeling in the moment. Espérate, let me write this book. And then he doesn't respond back, and I'm like,
Oh no, no, no. It's even better when it's oh, okay.
yeah, or thank you, and I'm like,
No, no,
I just
I
poured
got
out
you.
my heart. But then,
But it's not
same
wrong
thing.
to do what you're doing. I mean, express yourself. Don't ever change. Don't ever change that for no one. It doesn't matter who they are. Never change that for like that's something so genuine about yourself because of the fact that everything that you've been through, this is just something that you're growing and that you're pushing yourself, and
I'm
that's the
also,
lovely thing
I'm
about it.
sorry to cut you off. I'm also, for people who know me, I'm afraid of confrontation. So oftentimes my scapegoat is to text as opposed to seeing someone face to face because I'm so nervous about confrontation. And I don't know if it's my past or what it is, but I get super nervous with confrontation. And I'll say this, people are probably going to laugh at me when I say this. So sometimes I'll write like the world's longest text expressing myself, and then I'll put my phone on do not disturb because I'm scared to see what they respond. Because I'm so scared of confrontation. And then like an hour later, I'll like take it off of that. And I'm like, oh man, they're gonna respond, they're gonna respond. And if it dings back, I'm like, ooh. But like I'm like, I said what I had to say, and now I have to let them have their rebuttal. But I'm scared of confrontation. I really, really am. So it's hard for me sometimes to do it face to face because I am scared of confrontation. But
Yeah, but
I'm
you know
very
what? That's
expressive though. I'll give you
okay.
that.
So I'm going to tell you something now.
Uh-oh.
So when I actually text something that I don't want to like read quickly, I'm a person that I'm like text and flip phone on the bed and walk out. And I'm like, I'll read it when I'm ready.
Yeah. I've done that. And
Yeah,
and people are like, yo, you can't be that way. And I'm like, I'm confrontation frightens me. That's why when, I was in my relationships and they were like, you love to fight. I'm like, no, I don't. I'm so scared of confrontation. Like I hate fighting. I'm terrified of confrontation. So, for me, it's easier to just text and say how I feel. If I'm feeling something in the moment, I'm like, espérate, déjame escribir esto real quick. And when they don't respond back too, see, that's funny, right? Because I made no sense. Because when they don't respond, I'm like, but when they do respond, I'm like, oh my God. But
no, 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 no worries on
all
that.
I didn't scare people if people are watching. I'm sorry. I'm
So
crazy,
we're gonna keep on with the part of dating.
Oh
Um,
boy.
so when you date, do you tell that potential person about your previous abuse? Like off the back, like do you start off like, "Hey, I was
So you mean like what it was, like what I dealt with, or
yeah."
just that I was a victim?
Basically, I mean a little bit of both. As in,
Both.
like, do
Okay.
you when you're saying hi, I'm Christina. Yeah, I have a daughter, and this is my past. Ba 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 ba. Or you go,
All right. So
maybe not ready yet. Let me warm them up,
yeah,
and
I was just
then
about to say, so like on a first date, I'm not like, so oh my God, this wine is great. I used to get my ass beat. Like that, that is not the conversation, right? You don't start conversations that way. I think it's a level of comfort in realizing first getting to know the person. And I'm not saying waiting months in because I'm super big on, first of all, let me back up. Dating before Love Shouldn't Hurt was different than dating now. Because dating prior to Love Shouldn't Hurt, I was not in the limelight. I was not constantly everywhere. I didn't do a show. I wasn't all over social media. I wasn't at speaking engagements and people knew my face. I am at a different place than I was back then. People know me everywhere I go. I've gone places and people know me and I have no idea who they are. I walk into clubs and they're like, "You're that girl? Oh my God, you wear purple all the time." See? And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're just shit hurt. And then like, or I'll go places and they're like, "Oh my God, you spoke at this school and I was there and I heard you." Like people know me now, so it's different. So it's really hard to date and not talk about it because people know already because they know me. For people who don't know anything about Love Shouldn't Hurt and it's like a new dating thing, and I'm saying this in generalization terms because I just ended a relationship and so now this is like, dating now. Um, I would want to know the comfort level first, like kind of just feel them out, see where they are, because I could just go on a couple dates with someone and it not work out, and they don't need to know my whole life story. Um, I, have to get to know a person, kind of see where they're at. Um, my friend and I, we're just friends, but he's known me forever. And the crazy thing is he's known me for so long, um, and never knew that I was abused. until, we reacquainted again as friends. And then it was like, yo, dude, I didn't know you went through all of this type of thing. So that was an easy process because it was like, okay, we were already friends and you know me as a person. So I know there's a comfort level. I can just tell you what I've been through and I can share that with you. But dating now, like I said, is different for me. So if they don't know about Love Shouldn't Hurt, I'd have to see where I am with that person. I'm not going to tell you in your first or second date because it may just be nothing. It may just be that 2 dates and it's over. Dating prior to this, I absolutely didn't talk about it until I knew we were really going to be in a strong relationship, because I needed to know, are you in this for the long haul? Like, this is my baggage. It's what I've been through, you know, how you feel about that type of thing. And now it's just like, if you don't know Love Shouldn't Hurt, I got to see where you are, see where we're going to get if we become something. If you do know about Love Shouldn't Hurt, it comes up in conversation. So, yes, I'm a victim of domestic violence. This is what I stand for. And we go from there.
Do you feel like there's moments that maybe while you're talking to somebody that they take a kind of advantage of your, I'm not going to say maybe your vulnerable side?
Mhm.
Do you feel like as in past people that you've talked to have taken advantage of that?
Absolutely. Mhm. My best friend says all the time that I was a prime target, and not in a bad sense, but like, speaking of the situation, I was the prime victim for my abusers, because leading up to the most abusive relationship, um, I already was super vulnerable about my weight, about my looks, about my teeth, about this. Like, I had a terrible self esteem. And they knew that. Relationships that I went into after, they knew these things because I was open about it. Like, they knew I look fat, I feel fat, I'm ugly, I have terrible teeth. And, they knew that. And a lot of my abusers used that against me. Like, oh, well, you're lucky you're with me because you got terrible teeth and you're not pretty. Like, you need to lose weight. So they have, a lot of the people that I've been with in my past have used my vulnerability against me. But again, I feel like dating now at 41 will be totally different because I'm just at a different place. My self esteem is a lot higher. I feel a lot better about myself. And those are not things that I talk about. I don't walk around saying that I don't like my teeth, because now that I'm older, I'm like, damn, nothing wrong with my teeth. But when you're young, these are things that you like are worried about. You're like, oh my God, I got a snaggle tooth. I don't worry about those things now that I'm older. Like, I find myself beautiful and I do like what I see in the mirror. So I'm not the same person that I was back then. So I think dating now is different for me because I know, who I am, and I respect myself and what I bring to the table. So.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So, next question. As the Chrissy today, who has all the knowledge of domestic violence that you have, what would you say to Chrissy who was living through abuse in 2002? I kind of, but what would you tell to that Chrissy now that you know?
So the 41-year-old Chrissy talking to the 21-year-old Chrissy?
No, there's no 41-year-old. It's the queen, no princess,
The beautiful one.
because
No, I'm
that's a bad
joking.
idea. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we
I
talk
hate him.
about the person today
The person
versus
today.
a person from the past that was abused.
So people ask me that all the time, I swear. When I go talk at different places, I've had teenagers ask me that at schools. And my answer, I guess it always ranges, but I guess kind of sort of the same thing. Um, I know myself as a person now. I know who I am. I know, I know my good. I know my bad. Um, I know that I can strike chords at times. Um, so being who I am now, with the knowledge that I have now, I will tell her, because you said this is the girl going through the abuse,
So
right?
I'm gonna switch it up a little bit right now.
Okay.
Not what will you tell her? Tell her. She's right in front of you.
Oh God, you're gonna make
Tell
me
her.
cry. People are watching.
Sorry,
I cry every
sorry, but
week.
I want you to talk to her. Don't say what would I say? No. Tell her right now.
You definitely put me on the spot. Oh my gosh. That makes it different.
Go for it.
You're gonna make me cry.
And it's okay.
And people are like, she's nuts, right? I cry because that Chrissy was such a sad person. Uh,
Stop, because look,
I was just such a sad person at that time, so it's really hard for me. But I guess I would say, Christina, you're gonna make it through this time. You know, the difficult moment that you're going through now is not your final chapter. You know, the pain that you feel right now and the pain that you're going through, it feels unbearable. It feels like, you know, you're never going to live through it, but believe me, you're going to live through it. You're going to come out on top, and you are going to forever be blessed by what you're going through. Your pain is not going to be your final chapter. Your final chapter will be a beautiful life. You'll be a mother who's going to be loved. You're going to have a child who loves you and knows who you are, and you're going to shine. You're in a dark place right now, but you're going to shine one day, and it's all going to be because of what you've done and who you are and how you fought to get out of the place that you're in. So keep on pushing, keep on fighting, and know that the strength that you're looking for right now is in there. You just got to keep pushing forward because life's going to be great. I can't say more because I'm going to keep crying and I don't want to ugly cry.
that was beautiful, Chrissy. That was actually beautiful, and that's exactly what you should be. That you all you're doing right now is empowering yourself a little bit more. Each day is different, so and that's the great thing about each day. You're starting brand new. When you wake up, the first thing I do is thank you, because there's people that are not getting that second chance or that next chance. Let me say that, not second, another chance of opening up their eyes. And you know what, Chrissy, you have done it. You keep on. You your daughter is a beautiful example of what you've been doing. And instead of going backwards and moping and making yourself feel bad, what did you do? You put a negative into a positive. Look at this organization, amazing. Your daughter, amazing. These people that you work for, and this is not to like toot your horn or whatever. I see it. I just see it, and that's exactly why I take love shouldn't hurt so serious as well, because there's something that I knew that I wanted to help, even if it was behind the scenes. I never knew that I would do this, in all honesty. And it's like you even tell me you can do it. You're doing great, and you're uplifting. And what are you doing? And especially, yes, to the males, but you're uplifting women. You're uplifting youth. So what you just said right now to yourself was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, Chrissy. But since we are at the half mark, I'm gonna make Christina Vega say the half mark.
He just doesn't want to get it wrong. As per always, folks, anyone who's watching who is dealing with any form of domestic violence, whether it's you, someone you love, or someone that you are in close contact with, remember not to be afraid. The people are on the other line to support. Call them at 1-800-799-7233. You can also reach us at Love Shouldn't Hurt anywhere on social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can also reach out to us directly through loveshouldnothurt.com.
And if you didn't notice, in Spanish it's Facebook, YouTube. So you can contact the organization anywhere.
Exactly.
So what I'm gonna just go into something else. At what age did your abuse begin?
So my physical abuse began the first time I was physically hit. I was 21. But I would say the first time that I dealt with domestic violence in the mental and emotional side, I was probably about 18.
And how did you start, as in to notice it? Like, how did you start feeling? How did you start noticing your first step, or anything that you started saying, like, is this abuse, or is this verbal? Is this, how did you even like get into the just having the feeling?
So I'll say that when I was dealing with it at 17 and 18, I didn't know it was abuse. I just thought that was normal. I thought people, have relationships, they fight, and the way that they spoke to me was normal because I had a strict mother. I wasn't allowed to date, so I had to go to college so that I could get a boyfriend. Um, And it was my first experiences. And to me, the fighting and the talking down to me and calling me fat and cheating, it was just like, oh my God, this is dating life, I guess, right? I didn't realize until I was more educated on it once I got older that that was abuse. The physical abuse, um, the nasty things he would say to me and how mean he was to me, again, was just something, right, that I was accustomed to, because when I was dating 17, 18, and 19, it's what I dealt with. People yelled at me, people cursed at me and treated me badly. Again, I just thought it was just, oh, I guess this is what happens in relationships, right? The first time he hit me, obviously I knew, like, wait, thank you, Fish. Thank you, Amaris. Um, Obviously the physical abuse was obvious abuse. The first time that I was hit, it's like I can remember like it was yesterday. I mean, I literally got into an argument with him, and then a plate was broken over my face, and I ended up on the floor in blood. So that was obvious abuse. So I would say that at 21 is when I started to be like, okay, I think this isn't the way life's supposed to be. Like something's definitely wrong. And I said it in the documentary that that first day that I was hit and there was blood and the plate was broken on the floor, I literally laid on the floor and was like, oh my God, did he really just hit me? Like, this is what I tell kids not to go through. And he really did just hit me. So obviously the abuse was an obvious sign from jump, at 21. When I was younger, I didn't know. I just thought that's relationships. That's what you deal with. But clearly when I was hit, it was a sure sign, that it was abuse. I mean, one of the times that I dealt with physical abuse, and people are like, oh my God, that's massive. I I got put through a wall, and like he had so much force, he literally put me through the wall. Like the hole in the wall was my shape of my body. I literally had to have my mom's boss at the time cover up the wall and just like make up some story because my entire body made a hole through the wall. So I mean, that's obvious abuse. That's not normal.
Is this your the younger or
The
or
older, the older.
the older?
Yeah.
So when you were going through like the beginning stages of basically everything is perfect, everything is great, but when you started noticing maybe his change of character, what made you stay? If you're noticing that person already is having these abrupt moments out of nowhere and just saying, this is the perfect time right now to be like, I'm out. Before Alina
Right.
came out of the picture.
So yeah, she wasn't even born. Um, so right, there weren't big moments. Um, Oftentimes with abuse, especially physical domestic violence, you're gonna have a honeymoon phase. Like every relationship. At the beginning, everything is everybody's Joe. I love you. Everything you love, I love. You want anything? Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Like everything is beautiful at the beginning. So the first year and a half, I never, ever had any signs. There was never any red flags, as they say, right? Um, Others had red flags because others knew information about him that I didn't know about. So they were just like, this isn't for you. But when people love you and they see you and they think you're happy, they're not going to like intervene because they don't know what the outcome could be. I stopped talking to them. So people were never 110% honest with me. Like, this is what he's done and you shouldn't be with him. It was more like, this isn't you. This isn't your personality. You shouldn't be with him. As for me, there was no sure red flags that can say to me, oh my God, like I need to get out of this. It's abusive. Because again, remember the fighting and talking down to me was normal. So it wasn't like a big red flag. The red flag came as a huge red flag, when the plate got broken over my head. But in that instant, you're in shock and you're just like, did that just happen? And it was the beginning of the physical abuse. And after the beginning, it's kind of like that's it. It starts and it don't stop. Once they know that they can start, it's not stopping. But you also have to know, and not you because you haven't dealt with it, but when you're in domestic violence and you're in the physical part, they might hit you, but then the next day it's bringing you a dozen roses and hugging you at night, babe. I'm sorry. I would never do that to you. And at this time, I'm going through bad self-esteem. I'm going through no self-love of myself, and I'm seeing everybody around me in relationships. So to me, it's like, okay, he says that he'll be better. At least I have a boyfriend. Like, it's fine. It'll get better. And then, through time, it changed clearly. The abuse got worse. But then from being accustomed to just having a boyfriend, it turned into I'm scared of this person. You know, they put a gun on top of the table and they leave it there and say that they're not going to hit you, but that gun is sitting there every day and you know that they could take it to your head. You're not leaving. You know, people used to say you went to work every day and you knew you were coming home to an abuser. Why wouldn't you just not come home? Because he said he would kill my family. He
Hmm.
said he would kill my sisters or their husbands. I'm going to come home because I rather go through the pain and the scare and the abuse than to know that my family's going to go through any of that pain. So, you know, people stay for so many different reasons. And, you know, I get that often. Like, you went through it for 6 years. Why didn't you leave? It's not easy to leave. You know, there's a lot of manipulation, a lot of fear tactics that they use. So it's super scary.
So we're gonna go for a moment to the
Comments.
comments.
Okay.
Um, so Carmen Gonzalez says she will be overprotective when you meet the boy when she begins to date. This was
Oh
about
my God. I'm so
when your
scared,
daughter,
Alina.
talking about daughter dating.
I'm scared, Carmen. I'm scared.
Um, and Carmen also said the right man will come your way when you least expect it. Very true.
Yeah, for real. Least expected.
Michael McCory, yes, Ray taught me communication like no matter what
I'm
I'm
like,
like, I'm good, or I got home okay. But communication is general. It is very important. So
yeah,
yes, I'm usually very especially when the dancers or anybody is, if you're leaving my place or anything like that, or any event, I'm always like communication, like make sure that you're okay,
let
or
me know you're okay.
if you're gonna be late for something, if you're gonna, it's always communication.
Yeah, yeah. I
um
I
so,
learned that.
see,
And that's why I communicate sometimes too much. But that's me.
no, that's okay, that's quite okay. Alvin Romero, never tell everything about yourself until you feel comfortable or know you can take it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Carmen Gonzalez, God brought you through all of that because there's a purpose for your life.
Absolutely. I
And
believe it.
amen. And guess what? That's love shouldn't hurt.
Yeah. My pain became my purpose.
Amen. Amaryllis Ocasio Lopez, I understand. I am a domestic violence survivor. My abuser did jail time. Having to take a stand against someone I once loved was torment. Domestic violence changes your perspective in men, relationships, and your purpose. As much as I want to listen in, it brings PTSD to me. I'm thankful alive to tell. I'm thankful alive that I'm alive to tell my story. I understand more than you will ever know. And I'm
Thank
sure
you
that
for being open like that, Amaryllis. We
and I'm
appreciate
sure
that.
that when you speak to other victims, you have that connection already, as in
Hmm.
I know what you're going through, and I know that I'm
Hmm.
willing to help you.
Hmm.
And you working with various victims, how do you feel that when you have that one-on-one with them and you're talking to them and you're actually saying, um, "I can help you get out of this"? Like you actually prime example. You just did this for a family, a couple families.
Hmm.
Now, how did you feel when you talk to them? Are they saying, "Yes, I want this," or have you also went through those times that go, I'm reaching out to you, but I know what I want, and I don't want to. I just want you to listen to me, and but I don't want to do nothing about it." How,
So
like in both perspectives?
so here's the thing. When you have gone through it, experienced it, lived it, and got out of it, you get it. And that's the thing that I have to try to explain to a lot of the people who reach out to me, because not only do I get contacted by victims, oftentimes I'm contacted by their loved ones, parents, friends, and they get super frustrated because they're like, listen, she needs the help. She's in a super scary situation. And I don't know what to do. I need you to talk to her because I'm ready to wash my hands of her. I'm ready to just not deal with her anymore because I'm trying, I'm trying, I'm trying. She won't leave him, so I'm done. And I always have to like kind of humble them and bring them down. Like, listen, I get it. I totally get it because I've been there. But I always tell people love on the people who are going through it. Love on them. Constantly love on them. So this is me talking about someone else telling me, like families, and then I'll get back to the victim. I tell families to love on that person who's going through it, because a woman is going to leave a domestic violence relationship 10 times before she really fully leaves. So it's frustrating. It's frustrating for those who love you. It's frustrating for those who are trying to help you, because they are like, listen, it's in front of you. Like, mamita, what don't you see? Wake up. But they don't understand. Like I said earlier, the attempts are not easy. They're scaring you, they're manipulating you, they're telling you that they're going to kill you. It's not as easy as it's not clean cut. It's not, I'm just going to walk out and that's it. Because a veces I tell folks, I just recently dealt with someone, a young woman. She's beautiful, beautiful. And this man, he hurt her in a way that I can't even believe it. I now am helping her 5 months after our initial contact. Because when I first contacted her, her mother and I are the ones who spoke, not me and her. Mom was frustrated, wanted to help. And mom was like, she does not want it. She does not want it, but I need you to help her. And I said, Mom, I get it, but I can't force her. She has to want the help. I can't force myself on her. And I texted with her a few times and she wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. She just was like, I'm good. I can handle it. I can deal it. I'm good. We spoke again a couple months later. Same thing. She went through her abuse and it was like, I want the help. I want the help. They did everything they had to do. And then mom contacted me 2 days later. She went back to him. She went back to him. I'm done. I can't do it no more. And I'm like, you have to wait until she's ready. She's going to walk away so many times before she realizes it. This final time finally was her line in the sand. He hurt her so badly that it was kind of like her light bulb. And I know people are like, why do you wait till the light bulb moment? You don't know till you're in it. You can't see it until you're in it. It took that for her light bulb to be like, yo, I really need the help. And that is when she contacted me directly and said, listen, I want the help. What are the steps we need to do? Let me get help from you. Okay, contact a police officer. We're going to make sure that warrant's served. We're going to make sure you get what you got to get. We're going to make sure that when you go to court, you have all the backup you need. And now there's a positive outcome. So when I talk to victims, it's not difficult to have those conversations. I have frustrating days too, because I've been there and I want so badly to help them and I want them to be happy and I don't want them to go through this. They're beautiful, they're confident women, and it's scary, it's sad. So I do have moments when I'm upset too, because I'm like, oh, but then I bring myself back and I say, Chrissy, you were there. This was you 20 years ago. You didn't want the help either. I humble myself and I just stick to it with them, because I know that, you know what, just like this one came back, they're going to come back when they're ready. All they need is someone they know is going to support them. They don't need someone who's going to say, ay, él es un hombre malo, deje ese hombre, because the more you bash the person that's hurting them, they're going to feel like you're not open-minded, and they're going to feel like, oh no, she's just worried about him. She's not thinking about how I feel. They're not going to confide in you, because they're going to think all I'm going to hear is negativity and, oh, I'm not helping you. You get with him, I'm not helping you. You have to come to the situation, though you're upset, with love and continue to love on them and remind them they're not alone. I'm here. Listen, the person went back, and when she texted me the second time she was going back, I said, listen, just be safe. Make sure that when you go home, you have a safety plan. If you're going to go back, that's fine. When you need to, you can contact me. I'm always here. And listen, 5 months later, and she contacted me. We had the warrant served. We had him arrested. We went through the process of starting her to go to court and getting her lawyers. So we did what we had to do. It just took some time for her to come. So yeah, I have my own frustrated moments, but I always take myself back because I've been in these abusive situations and I know how difficult it can be. So when they're ready, they'll come. You just have to continue to love them and show them that you're going to be there for them regardless.
Because sometimes, like when I'm listening to some stories, and or I'm just there and I'm listening just to stuff being nosy. So and I hear like, pero tú eres pendeja. For if it was me, I wouldn't even take nobody's stuff. And I'm like, ah, now, and luckily, because of Love Shouldn't Hurt,
Mhm.
I'm more educated today. And when I like talk to, when I listen to other people's conversations and I'm listening, I have more of a heart, because you're right. You need to go through it in order to know. And I don't. That's one thing that I'm very sensitive when it comes to that. It's when listening to your story. First thing, like I said before, it was a surprise to me.
Mhm.
When I first heard you 3 years ago,
Mhm.
and when I heard it, I was just like, I'm over here trying to hold in my tears, which I could not. I'm trying to, be there for your daughter behind scenes when, when you're doing the documentary, and then just listen to everything. And I'm over here like, why didn't she tell me? Yeah, I have all these questions. Oh,
Mhm.
why didn't she tell me? I wanted to be there for you. I wanna listen to you. You have my number. Why didn't you reach out? So it's like, why, or
Mhm.
I could have, or until you're in that position of
Yeah.
you don't know what the other person is saying for that person's silence. So
Yeah.
understanding and listening to other people's stories when Jackie, Sulma, yourself, and then plus uh, many more ladies that have come to you and expressed themselves, you tend to now understand. You tend to say, how about saying instead of, why didn't you? You know what? I'm still going to be here for you.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
it changes the way that you're saying things. And Chrissy, again, you're strong, with everything that you have already been through, and then continue and you change that into a positive, hands down. Of course, um, I'm going to take your your saying from last week. You went from a victim into a victor, and it's just and it's amazing to just know that. And I, like I said, anything and everything, and not only love shouldn't hurt, but with many projects that you do, I'm always there for you because of the fact that I believe in, and especially first thing is your mission. And that's one thing that I've always looked at. I was just like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into, but I'm going to educate myself in what is it that love shouldn't hurt means. And just for first was listening to your story. That was
Mhm.
the first step. Is I that day like coming to you like I need this and I need I need I'm looking for a location for this and I'm like, sup, do it here. I have no problem. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Absolutely didn't.
And I'm over here like, wow, mira, like all these camera,
Mira qué nice.
backdrop, makeup artists, and I'm like, yeah, yo, this is cool. And then it was like real,
Yeah. Got
real,
real fast.
and I just went like, wow, that it totally changed the feel. It changed the feel. It changed everything, and that's when I started noticing a little bit more. I was like, I can't say, as I went, yeah, all these questions, but 3 years later, I'm over here like, support, support, continue supporting, and let's just and what you're doing. I mean, and you got. I'm gonna just say it. Just gonna say it. And I know everybody else is on here saying, yeah, it's true. The gala was so amazing, but not at the fact that we partied our butt off, but to the point that the message, the message was badass. The program, amazing. The sponsors, amazing.
Thank you.
Why were there so many sponsors? Because they believe in love shouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
But I see that we have someone also in our green room, and
Yeah.
but I'm gonna make her wait maybe one more question. Why? Guess what? Because guess who's in charge today?
She got to
So
sit
I'm
tight
gonna.
back there. We're gonna get to you,
So
boo.
I got you. Don't worry about it. Um.
One
So
last question.
one last question. So basically, what I just said um, with what you just said last week, the victim into a victor. Um, but what do you call yourself when you discuss your story? Like, what do you label yourself as? Like, what? So when you're introducing yourself and you're saying, "Hi, I'm Christina, and I'm a survivor," or do you say, I was a victim. I was. What is it that Christina says when you're in front of a good group of people and they just want to know who you are? What do you label yourself as when you're in doing an introduction?
I am a shiro.
Amen.
I am a shiro because not only am I a she who is out there doing my thing for women and just speaking up for other people, I'm my own hero. I really am. Um, Sometimes it takes ourselves pushing ourselves to come out of those dark places. You know, you can go through therapy, you can go through counseling, you can do so many things, and so many other people can help you. But in my situation, the only person that can get me out of it was myself. No police officer got me out of it. No therapist got me out of it. I got myself out of it. So I am my own damn hero. So
Mm,
I call myself a Shiro, and I call the women who started this mission with me Shiros because we did the damn thing. You know, it is not easy to leave an abusive relationship. It's not easy because you don't see any worth in yourself. You have to fight to get out of this relationship. And I don't mean physically fight this person. You need to fight so many inner battles with yourself to get yourself out of these situations. And I fought damn hard to get out of those situations. And I'll be damned if I'll ever be in that situation again. So I am a freaking Shiro because I'm working for women out there, she, he, whoever. And I'm a damn hero, even to myself.
hey, that's exactly what I want to hear. So, Chrissy, um, I'm going to tell you the truth. I think that part three is going to be coming soon because you have been absolutely amazing.
Oh, thank
Hands
you.
down, you are a great guest.
Guest.
So it was great to be your host.
Thank you. I
But
appreciate it.
I'm gonna, but we're gonna turn the tables a little bit, and so that you can talk about
An
the next
upcoming
person that's
event.
going to be
Yes.
coming on. So I'm going to take myself off for a second,
Okay.
and I'm going to bring on the guest.
Mujercita,
What's happening?
how
What's
are
up?
you,
The green
miss?
room. Oh my gosh. First off, the green room is real. I love this whole
Yes, it
setup.
is.
Oh my gosh. Sorry.
Oh, her
I'm
phone
on my
fell.
phone, guys. Yeah, we got a gangster setup right now, but we're working with
You're
it.
so funny. Well, listen, you're like at the end of my show. I got to get you on
Yes.
for real, for real. But
Yes.
listen, folks who are
Yes.
watching this beautiful, beautiful Fierra Latina that we have on the screen is Miss Jennifer Gomez Hardy. She is, I believe you put that together, right? Gomez Law Group is yours, correct?
Yeah. Gomez Law Group is on me. This is the group. Well, we got a couple more people, but
This is an
this is it.
amazing lawyer in Philadelphia, folks. She was one of our sponsors for the Love Gala. We met by coincidence through other
Yeah.
people. And now I love her. She is awesome. A huge
Yes.
supporter of what it is that we do, but we're here to promote your event. She is having an amazing event that I will be there, and I will be there with bells on. So tell us about your event, Boo.
So it's so exciting because my husband and I own Lou and Shoes, which is at 21st and Hunting Park. And so we are definitely bringing the Latin flavor to the location. And it's been awesome. You know, Christina was there, our first Moncho Rivera event,
That's
which
right.
was super sexy, super successful, super fun. And so we just want to bring something back. And so we're bringing in the holidays with El Parranda in Lou and Shoes in Philadelphia. So we definitely want you guys there. It's going to be coquito, cigars, some dancing, some networking. But the other thing
Mhm.
too is we're going to have registration to vote. We're going to have Christina's event there, and she's going to be selling her merchandise. So, you know, come out and support small businesses, people that are going to be like doing different vending and selling their things. And right now, it's the time to support small businesses,
Yeah.
especially with the COVID hit and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
we just support each other. And the best way to do it is to come out, spend some money, support them, and you know all that, having a good time too. So
Yeah.
it's
So look at that. Una
Saturday. Come on.
celebración. It is this
Yes.
Saturday, right?
Yes, this Saturday, 3 to 9. And
Nice.
we'll give out 2 free tickets right now because I'm feeling festive. So hit up Christine. We got your tickets. We'll hit up we'll, you know, make sure that you're welcomed and all that other stuff. But get your
Absolutely.
coquito on and join us because it's gonna be such a great time.
Yes. And if you guys are a jibara, just like I am, you love parrandas. And listen, you see my Christmas tree. I'm already ready for the holidays because I love Christmas, my favorite time of the year. So if you've never been to a parranda, let's go get there Saturday, Lou, and choose. Jennifer and her husband are Wepa.
I
Jennifer
like
and
that.
her husband, yeah. Jennifer and her husband are amazing people. They own this establishment. They have turned it around, and it is so beautiful. When you get inside there, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God!" It is a gorgeous spot. So please come out and join us on Saturday. I will be there. It is from 3 to 9. That is the flyer. If you look on my page, it is there as well. Get the tickets. Admission is $15. VIP is 25. Come out and support your local small businesses. I wanted to bring Jennifer on because she was so supportive of our event and she sponsored our gala. So we wanted to give her some love and some limelight and shed some love on her event. People, let's bring some
Yeah.
Latinos out.
And I'm here for the love, Christina. That's why I think we got along so well, because we're so lovey-dovey. And so I'm here for it. So you can hug
Yes.
on me anytime.
Linda, she's so great. Thank you for coming on, Boo. Hopefully you'll be on one day as a regular guest and we can talk, some other things because people would love your services as well. She's an amazing lawyer, folks.
And this is where I come.
Yes. Thank you guys
Because
so much.
guess what, Miss Jennifer?
Yes.
You will be asked because we would always love the law side of what what anything that you've heard or anything that you experienced with domestic violence or giving just a little bit of background. So expect me to reach out to you.
All right. I'll check my calendar.
All
I'm
right.
excited. I'm excited. And the hot seat was really hot. But I'm just so thankful that Christina, like, you're an open book. It's such an inspiration just to be vulnerable. And I think at the gala, we, like you said, we had such an amazing time. But it was like a lifetime movie because it was like laughing, crying,
Yeah.
dancing. It was just like a whole bunch of emotions. But the main thing was that I think that the message is to whatever happens in the house doesn't need to stay in the house, and that we need to break that silence. And I just thank you so much for talking about the most uncomfortable things that we need to actually talk about. So I love you so much. You're my hero.
Oh.
And I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much,
Thank
Jen.
you,
Thanks for
Jennifer.
coming, babe. Have a good night.
Bye.
Take care, Mama.
Bye.
She's so cute. I love her.
So as we always do, we do our last final thought. So I'm gonna maybe just do mine first,
Okay.
so that Christina can do her final thought because you are an amazing person. You are absolutely amazing, Christina. So I'm gonna take you off the screen, and I'm gonna have my moment. So people, um, you're beautiful. I never forget that. So with a little bit of the hot seat and knowing that everything that Christina went through and knowing a little bit, just a tad bit more of just basically her journey, her story, and just knowing that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to make sure that you really focus on reaching it. It is not easy. Just listening to the stories and making sure that I was sympathetic. I was there. I was just, and I was overall a listening ear. I wanted to learn. I didn't want to be ignorant to not understand what is it that domestic violence, anything and everything about domestic violence. So I did my part. I wanted to educate myself. I wanted to make sure that I just was given my help in whatever I could. And overall, make sure that you reach out whenever, if and when you need that help. It's been tough. Life has been tough, especially during this pandemic. It has been tough for all of us. But you know what? It's a little bit tougher, and it's much tougher. Not a little bit tougher, but it's much tougher for those that are silent, with hurt inside their heart. And that's one of the things that we have to be there for each other. We have to make sure that instead of going aggressively and making sure that we say the right words. When we hear like the negativity, oh, I would have did something different, or I would have. Exactly. You don't know until you're in their shoes. So when we look at everything and we actually put ourselves into their shoes, into their life, and look at it from outside, we get to see what we really um, need to understand, and make yourself a little bit more knowledgeable on domestic violence. But thank you guys for having me as your host. It was a complete honor. I'm usually, like I said, behind the scenes because I believe in love shouldn't hurt, and it's gonna keep on growing, and we're gonna have so much work. And but overall, Chrissy is absolutely amazing. Listen, be attentive, know what's happening because there's so much is gonna come on. It's gonna be crazy. The gala is just a piece. The walk is just a piece. Just know that big things are coming, and it's gonna be with this guy right behind a she hero. So thank you guys. I'm gonna bring Christina Vega, as I call her, CMV, back on.
You're so funny. Before I go back by myself, there was a question that I saw after as you were talking. I was looking through some comments, and Titi Mimi, that's what I call her. If you can look for that comment by Mildred Zenon, there you go. So I have to answer it because that's Titi Mimi, and I got to answer it for her. Um, she is my adopted Titi. I love her. She says, how do you know that you would never again stay in an abusive relationship if it were ever to happen again? God forbid it never happens because you know I love you. I love you too, Titi Mimi. So I'm going to answer it the same way I have answered most of the questions throughout the night by saying that I am no longer the same Christina that I used to be. The Christina that you actually have watched grow up and seen throughout the years, even though I was loud, Titi, and you saw me all the time acting a fool, I had a lot of pain. I had a lot of self doubt, and I had no self worth or respect for myself. The 40-year-old Christina that you still see, Titi Mimi, but don't see as often, is totally a different person than that person. I no longer have to hide behind joking or being funny or being silly. I just am who I am. And I'm just at a place in my life where I don't tolerate that. You know, if you put your hands on me, there's definitely going to be a problem. And I don't mean that, you know, I'm ready to fight you back. What I mean is there's no more of staying until he gets better. There's no more staying until he knows better. There's no more we can fix this. At this point, if that's the way that your love is expressed, then it's not a love or a surrounding that I want to be around. So you know, I think it took growth. It took me going through the pain and going through the motions and learning and discovering myself and just seeing who I could be as opposed to who I thought I was to get to where I am now. So I don't foresee myself ever being in an abusive relationship again. I can't say that, you know, emotional or mental abuse isn't there because you go through relationships and people end up being scum. You know, they start off really nice and then they start to put you down in small ways. But, you know, that's just a part of you saying, you know, oh, that's how you talk to me? Okay, well, you got to go too. Because, you know, you may not put your hands on me, but if you're talking down to me and making me feel terrible, you know, that's also a form of abuse. And I'm just not in the same place anymore, Titi. So thankfully, you won't ever have to hear about me going through any of those forms of abuse anymore because I have a different level of respect for myself now.
Amen. So, Miss Christina Vega, I'm going to leave you talk to your audience, and I'll be back to say goodbye.
Goodbye. Hi, folks. This is so weird to be on the other side of the screen, but I'm excited and happy that we did it. I have always said that I'm super transparent. I love to just be able to speak and let you guys know my experiences because I think just like when you're doing, I don't know, people say that you hear about a book and it's like I'm not a book person, I have to see it, so they rather watch the movie, right? Or you're trying to learn something in a classroom and they're like I can't get it, I'm struggling. I'm more of a person who has to see it or write it down. So I feel like for you to understand where I'm coming from, it's better for you to see it and for you to hear it from me because I'm the person who's running this, right? So I'm not perfect in any way. I have a lot of faults, still have a lot of therapy I probably need. But you know, I'm super open because I think that we all learn life lessons by just being honest with who we are. You know, I'm at a different level in my life now where I know my faults, I acknowledge them. I'm willing to change and fix them. I know right from wrong. And it's easy for me to get on here now. People say, how do you do it? It's so scary. It's not scary to me anymore. It's so easy for me. Ooh, I kicked it. It's so easy for me to get on here now because, you know, I feel that every time I'm on here, someone is touched. You know, things that we talk about touches someone. And even if I touch one person, I always say that that's a success because that one person didn't wake up that day feeling as though they were going to be helped. And just by something I've done, whether it's a live video being positive in the morning or it's this on a Tuesday night, I was able to bring that person some peace. I was able to help that person just by telling my own story and being positive. So I love these moments and I appreciate the guests and people who are constantly here supporting our mission. Love Shouldn't Hurt started, unfortunately, because of such a terrible and tragic moment in all of our lives. You know, someone who was deeply loved by everyone she knew, Linda Rios, was the reason why this organization began. And unfortunately, with her loss, you know, this began, but it's fortunate because now we can continue to come out of the dark. We can tell our stories and we can help other people who feel like they can never get out of it. You know, I know that everyone who loved her feels as though they wish they would have done more and they could have said more. And I think now with what it is that we're doing, we're giving people that empowerment. We're allowing them to know that I don't have to do this alone. I don't have to deal with the abuse by myself. There are people there who can help me. And I'm just happy that I can be that face. I talk a lot with my hands. Oh my God, I'm so Puerto Rican. But I love tonight. We had a great time. I don't know about you guys, but you need to start clapping in the comments because Ray did a phenomenal job as he always did. My Ryan, man. I appreciate him. I love him. And thank you guys for always being here. We will be here next Tuesday. We will love on you guys. We will have a great topic and some great guests. Remember my final thing to say. We have relocated so many amazing women and men and children, but this holiday season, we would like to make 3 of our families feel blessed. If you've been on my page, you have seen the flyer, you have seen me talk about it, and I'll continue to do so as the holiday goes on. We want to make the holidays special for 3 families who have been relocated. They do have small children. Unfortunately, due to their injuries, they cannot work. So Christmas may not be in the books they think this year for their families. We want to give them something to be happy about. And we want to make sure that those kids feel like their Christmas is a positive one. So if Ray can put up that flyer so you guys can see, we are doing a gift drive this year for Christmas. I don't know if Ray's there because he's not putting it up. But we are doing a gift drive, a donation. If you do not feel comfortable sending monetary donations via Cash App or Zelle or PayPal, whatever it is that you have, you can contact me. I will give you the location where you can drop off gifts for them. If you look on my page, I will also put it under tonight's comments section. I will give you the ages, the sizes for the families, the mothers, the kids. Let's get together and give these relocated families a good Christmas. Right now, they think that it's not going to be a great Christmas and they think that they're not going to have anything to give to their kids, but we are going to give them a surprise because we're going to make sure that they get Christmas gifts this year. So thank you for those who have already donated money. I have had several people send to our Cash App. We are Love Shouldn't Hurt LLC on Cash App. So no matter what the donation is, whether it's big or small, we're appreciative of it. Again, if you want to give physical gifts, please contact me. We will give you the information, the sizes, so that you can know where to take them and you can give them a good Christmas gift. I love all of you guys. Thank you so much. Titi Mimi, I see your comments. I love you. I love you so much. And thank you for being here.
Christina,
Reynaldo.
you were amazing.
Ay, pues,
And I
gracias.
just want to just say thank you for letting me be the host
Thank
of
you
your
for taking
amazing
on that
show.
challenge.
And definitely, I love my challenges even behind the scenes because while Chris is saying, "Hey, can you put this up?" It wasn't even in the back yet, so
I
I'm
thought
over
it
here like,
was.
"Let me start looking for it really quick," and it gets a little crazy. So
I
whenever
thought it
there's a
was.
delay, it's because I'm looking for it in the background.
My bad, folks. I
Um,
thought it
but
was there
uh,
already.
but you know what? The show must go on, right?
That's right. Eso es lo que
So,
pasa when it's live.
but thank you again. You're amazing, and
Thank you.
definitely I do see a part 3. So
People need to start emailing you some questions. We can build up a part 3.
not a
I'm
problem with
I'm
that.
transparent, folks. Whatever you want to ask, I'll answer.
So the 50 questions that I already had
Okay.
prepped,
Está bien.
it's just it could be for like 20 shows probably, but at least I was ready, right? But thank you guys.
Thank you.
Um, thank you for having me. Love you guys. Take care. God bless.
See you next week.